just didn't see Felton on that last possession?
Nah, I didn't. That was a mistake of mine. He gambled at the beginning, so I felt like I had some room to work. I should have just slowed it down a little bit, but I had Devin Harris on his heels as well. So I got to be cautious of that and learn from that mistake.
And we are back with part 2 of the Garden Report, powered by Grandstand. Awesome app, download it if you haven't. And we're going to fast forward 47 minutes and 30 seconds to this game tonight. It was a great game. If you recorded it, watch it, maybe fast forward through a couple ugly parts in the middle of the game. But the last 30 seconds were important because the Celtics were down 7 points, okay? And the fans were heading for the exits, as they should. Mm-hmm. Or not as they should, but as I understand, I should say.
Especially if you have a kid,
as I understand.
Right?
It's a 3-possession game. There's 30 seconds left. We've seen this play out a million times. It's a weeknight, like you said. You got kids.
Last 30 seconds of an NBA game.
Right.
It's not 30 seconds.
Exactly. The fans were heading for the exit. So if they missed the ending, we might as well tell them what they missed. Down 7, Jay Crowder hits a 3-pointer. Celtics play full court defense, full court press on the inbounds. They steal the ball. Crowder gets fouled, hits 2 free throws. All of a sudden, we've got ourselves a game here. Long story short, Raymond Felton goes down to hit his own free throws. Misses them both. Celtics are out of timeouts. Back the other way they come. Mayhem. Dirk Nowitzki called it high schoolish because it was just ugly missed free throws. Celtics in transition. Isaiah Thomas is thinking, I'm ahead of Ray Felton, who just misses free throws. I've got one guy to beat. I'm going to drive to the hoop here, and if maybe I'll get fouled, maybe I'll hit the free throw. Loses his handle. The ball's loose. Felton, of all people, the guy who just was the GOAT, is now the hero. He steals it from Thomas. Mavs end up with the ball. They hit their free throws this time around, and that's your game. But the point is, the Celtics made something out of nothing. After blowing an 18-point lead, they could have just said, well, we really screwed this one up. Brad Stevens could have let him dribble out the clock, but no. He's going to make these guys play to the very last second, kind of like the Patriots on Sunday, playing at the very last second there. What does that tell you about this team?
Just Brad Stevens not going to let them quit. They have that mentality going in. They're going to fight to the end. We saw it last year. Going back last year against the game against Golden State. They were down like 10 in the final 2 minutes, and Golden State was kind of fumbling it away, and the Celtics were pressuring them. The Celtics were up in this game to begin with, so they weren't going to quit anyways. You see that fight in them on a nightly basis. There was actually a Zaza Pachulia travel mixed in there.
Zaza.
He had a wide open
guy.
layup. I hate him too. I can't stand him.
Stand that guy. All the way back to the Hawks days.
Oh yeah,
that's where
KG.
That's where it really stems from.
But he had a wide open layup. He ends up traveling. Celtics get the ball, and that's where the last 30 seconds kind of come into play.
Yeah.
And mayhem ensues. Obviously, Celtics wish they could have had that timeout back, but they used them up in the second half. It's unfortunate. You'd think Isaiah Thomas could outrun Raymond Felton, but I guess Felton wanted it more, or wanted the redemption a little bit more, and that's how it goes.
You can't blame Thomas for doing what he did, but at the same time, part of me, at least watching it, was thinking, okay, there's a guy coming up from behind you. There's got to be some communication out there, maybe from his teammates saying, hey, bring it back out, slow it down. Not that you want to slow it down and do a half-court offense, when you're in transition, but at least you want to be aware of who might be around you in that moment. But it was kind of amazing that they even got themselves in that position to begin with.
They really shouldn't have.
No,
the Mavericks had it. They were up 5 with 30 seconds left, and they had the ball.
Right.
They were in control.
It was like probably 1,000 to 1 that the Mavericks were gonna. At that point, I don't know what the statistics would show, but I imagine that they were crazy. So that made it interesting. All for naught in the end. The Mavericks. Tell you what, in the first quarter they didn't look so hot, but they showed me some things tonight. Mark Cuban, he got hosed in the offseason. We all know that. DeAndre Jordan, with the pump fake of the year before the season even started, told him that he was going there. Turns out, it took what was it? One guy took a helicopter, one guy took a boat. I think Chris Paul took a banana boat.
Yeah,
they convinced him to stay in LA. Cuban was clearly pissed, as he should be, because he thought he was getting Jordan, he thought he was getting Wes Matthews. He's putting this contender together. Are they still a contender, though, without Jordan?
I think they are. Going into this year, I didn't think they would be. I thought they'd be, a middling team, maybe like competing for the 8th spot. But they have something going there. They're a really strong veteran team, obviously well coached. Rick Carlisle is one of the more underrated coaches in the league. Darren Williams is looking for redemption back in his hometown. Wes Matthews is coming off a major ACL injury. But before that,
Achilles.
Oh, Achilles. Yep, you got it. But yeah, before that, I mean, he's one of the best three-point shooters in the NBA. He's tough. We saw him defend Marcus Smart pretty well tonight. And obviously they have Dirk. So anytime you have Dirk and you can put some pieces around him, they're going to compete. I don't think the West is as good as we thought it would be, at least so far.
No, there's a couple of teams that have been disappointed.
Yeah, so they're going to be in it, going forward.
Yeah, and the one word you used about Wes Matthews is tough. I mean, that dude is tough as nails. When he was with Portland last year, I know Brad Stevens particularly singled him out a couple of times last year, talking about just guys who, guards, like really tough guards that can do a lot of things. And he showed it tonight in that fourth quarter. He had a couple of big threes. I think he had 10 points in the night. Him and D-Will combined for 21 points in that fourth quarter. I was a little skeptical about the D-Will trade. I just didn't know what he had left. But I think going home is really gonna kind of give him like second life type of situation. And like you said, Dirk Nowitzki, he's getting towards the end of his career, but he's not like there's Kobe end of your career and there's Dirk end of your career, and Dirk clearly has plenty of left to give. And I do think that team is going to be a tough out. I'm not willing to put them in the top 3 or 4. I think they're a 5 or 6, but they're a tough 5 or 6. Nobody wants to play them because all the reasons you listed. That said, on the other end, Eastern Conference, one guy on that Mavericks, Chandler Parsons, tonight said the Celtics are definitely a playoff team in the East. Do you agree with that?
I do.
Yes.
It seems like everyone's praising the Celtics and Brad Stevens these days. I think the Celtics, the Eastern Conference has definitely improved this year, but it's still a little bit watered down. There's no clear-cut contenders.
No.
I don't even know if I think Cleveland's a contender, but they're going through some major injuries and some major shuffling going around there. So it's really up in the air. It's for the Celtics taking. I think they have the depth for the regular season. I mean, playoffs is a different story, but yeah, I see the Celtics getting into like a top 5 or 6 seed in the Eastern Conference.
And I think it's just interesting that this is a team a couple years ago they couldn't sniff a win against a Western Conference team, and now they're actually really impressing these Western Conference teams. They're beating them, and when they're losing, they're still impressing them. So that says a lot. And you know what? It doesn't really matter where the Celtics finish this year because they've got the Brooklyn Nets pick, and that we know is going to be a very, very high pick. So we'll leave you on that note. We got the Brooklyn Nets on Friday, and hopefully that's one more loss that we can add to their growing list. So for Cory Prescott, I'm Jimmy Toscano. Jared Weiss should be back with us on Friday. We will see if he finds a parking spot. Until then, see you next time.
Thanks, guys.